Off you go, guys.
Welcome everybody again to this wonderful gathering we have every week now, all these beautiful, exquisite consciousness explorers wanting to challenge the unknown to show them more. So I'd just like to reiterate what Martina said before we started the recording, which is thank you. We've had wonderful messages. Thank you, Sarah, for all your beautiful Facebook comments. And this is just off the top of my head, remembering some great emails from Dawn. Thank you. Some very challenging questions. We haven't responded yet because we're going to get together and have a little chat about some of your questions. But it's wonderful that you all feel so involved and that you enjoy it and that you all want to contribute. Because for me, and as many of you said, and I know for Martina and Mary, this is like our little family of expanding consciousness. So we do so appreciate you all being here. Now, I've just had a couple of days with Martina and Mary, as some of you have seen on my Facebook, and that was just wonderful. So I just recommend anybody who wants to have a session with Martina or Mary. Wow, I learned so much being with those two divine feminine people in 2 days. We did have it all, but it actually took me again out of my comfort zone. I've been a lot out of my comfort zone recently and loving it. And I would just recommend them to Martina. Just blows your mind and makes you ask questions about everything. And I'm quite tired when she goes. Because they both of them keep you on your toes. So yeah, just hats off to them. So I'm moving on to today. Most of you know Maty now from all the sessions, and I had an hour with Maty last night where he came through with so many different styles of light language verbally, that again, I was mind blown. So I'm really delighted that we can have him on today to talk about this light language that he does. Now, I understand light language comes in many ways, in codes, it can come in drawings, artwork, in music, in song. I think Maty does some of this, he'll tell us about that, but his particular gift for it is to come out verbally. So Maty, if you'd like to come on, and would you like to tell us how this whole light language journey started for you and share your story?
Yeah, absolutely. So it started around 2013. I do remember years before that, around about 2002, when I went through sort of a mini awakening, and I was interested in Buddhism and things like that. And I remember in some cases being in the bath, which seems to be a big thing for me, the water. And making up words, and you know, I felt like I was just being silly, and then I didn't think anything of it. But then in 2013, it was the time when all of those videos, like the Galactic Federation of Light, and all those channelings that everyone was eating up were rampant, and lots of people were talking about, you know, archangels and, you know, various star beings and things, and there were so many people channeling, and there was so much misinformation and bad information out of that time. But I was working for myself and had a lot of spare time, and there was one guy I listened to, and he was speaking, what he was saying were angelic tongues, and it was very fast, rapid fire light language. And he did one that was a light language activation. I even forget the name of this guy now. It was just a normal guy, just a normal dude who created some videos. And I listened to one of these videos, and then I was working away, and all of a sudden I just started speaking. And it picked up pace, and it picked up pace, and it picked up pace, and it just went on and on and on and on and on for hours upon hour upon hour. And it was one of the most exhausting things I've ever done in my life. But it was like a mass activation of light language, and from that moment then I've been able to speak them. Yeah.
How did that affect you in your life, your everyday life?
Not a lot at first, really, because I've lived quite separate of society most of my adult life, really. So I was always in my own bubble. You know, I made sure that anything that the work that I did wherever we went, we was always quite secluded in a way. But it was coincided with a lot of other experiences that were going on at the same time. But the light language was one of the most beautiful ones. And there was a time, you know, a lot of us, when we have these spiritual gifts and talents, what happens is when we first activate them, they're almost as potent as they could possibly be at the beginning. And then it kind of, you have to work to keep it up, you know? It's like anything. And so at first it was very potent. There were some points where I remembered everything, like not remembered, excuse me, where I could translate what was going on, especially through the singing and stuff. So it would happen spontaneously when I was on my own. But then also when I got together with people occasionally and the conversation turned that way, then I was able to use it. I noticed I was able to use it to affect people's energy systems and their chakras. Because I do that through my energy healing anyway, but I found that the light language was a way to amplify and change that. So it didn't really affect my outer life. It's just really, it just became a part of it really. And there's my own personal light language, of course, is a part of my own journey. And so gradually, as I went on, the light language integrates itself into your day-to-day routine. So, you know, if ever I need to bless water, bless food, anything like that. And there's been some really interesting times. Like there was a time when I had an ancestral entity that was affecting me in a big way. And so I find that if I draw a bath and put salt in and bless the water, and then sort of not open a sacred space, but make some prayers, and then get into the water, that things happen. And light language is once used to remove this self-created entity, this dreamtime entity. I actually felt the language come in, and I couldn't understand what was going on, but you could see, you know, you could get the gist of what was being said. And then this entity was put on its place, and then it had its say, and then it was removed. But all this was done out loud. You know, it seems to be the manifestation of translating that light into language in this reality. That's the power of it.
Yeah, I think your last sentence there is key to what I was just going to ask you, which is, let's slow this down and let's break this down for people who've had, we'll start off with people who've had no experience of light language before, and what it means. What is it? What is it we're dealing with? What is it we're having to translate, Maty? What's coming to us? Go right back to the very beginning when it came to you. What did you think it was? How was it perceived by you?
It was, so when we speak, the third eye projects our words anyway. So it's all intertwined. And our common language is used just for that. You know, there are some interpretations where we can twist it, but light language has a frequency behind it, a higher frequency. So I would say that light language is language that's decoding light, whereas all language is decoding light because everything is light, you know, in its essence. But this is a higher frequency, higher density form of light. But there is also dark languages, you know, so it's just a different kind of light being manifested in whichever way it's delivered.
So how does the translation process happen for you?
It's not translation. Translation is something I'm still working on. That's the real mastery for me. It's been able, like AB does, to actually be able to translate word for word. So for me, that comes in and out. And there's sometimes where I just get the gist of what's going on, and other times where I can take a language and piece by piece, you know, translate the whole thing. But the actual delivery of it is completely spontaneous.
Sorry.
That's okay. So let's say that it's kind of going off of the basics really, but it just so people understand how it is delivered and how it's used. So if I wanted to bless some water, all I would do is hold that water, connect to it, and then speak, because I already know what I want to do and what I want to say. So that's how the delivery is done.
Do that now for us. Let's have some fun and get light language kicked off here.
So just connect to this water. Chatted to ishkalia a little bit here. Added the ishkalia element tishkilian. Urta kapachishkuli limited inge. Artakachikili. Tachi waha. And the waha, that seems to be like a aho.
Okay, so tell me the body processes that are happening here while you're doing that. I know it's all happening very fast for you, but sort of slowed down to slow movie. What are the techniques that are happening here?
All I feel is my heart fires up, my throat fires up, and then the words come out, and that's that. And there's sometimes where I deliver a light language where if I do a healing to somebody, that I don't actually feel anything at all. All I feel is the heart fires up, the throat fires up, and then I speak the words. But then if I re-listen to them back, then I actually get the healing, so I can actually feel what the other person was feeling. But at the time, because I think it would be quite overwhelming, you know?
Yeah, so I mean, I understand there's no literal word for word translation. We don't have.
You can, some.
Okay, so in the water one, do you get a third eye vision? Have you got your mind's eye telling you, giving you pictures or any sort of words at all when you're doing that to the water?
No, not really. Mine's. I mean, it can do. Sometimes what I would do is I'll do that initially before I connect. So when I pick up with something, then I sync with the water. I mean, you can do this out loud. You know, you just say, I connect to this water, and you could just feel it. It's almost like a feeling for me. It always starts with a feeling. And then the intention comes in, and then the light language just flows. But all I can feel is just energy flowing, and that's where the hands come in as well, you know, the pheromones and the light that's released through the hands and the third eye.
So that interaction with the water would apply to anything that has consciousness?
Anything at all, even if it doesn't have consciousness. Absolutely anything at all. Yeah.
Okay. Is it more vibrant for you or more alive for you if the substance, whatever, has consciousness?
Well, anything that contains water is highly programmable.
Yeah.
Anything that has the water content can be programmed. Anything like alcohol, which is alive, extremely potent. But then everything, I mean, you know, like the rug behind me here, but really everything has a consciousness in a way. It's not maybe a consciousness, but it has life in it. Even if it's just, you know, when I hold an object like something that's timber, then it came from a tree. So, you know, there's definitely the light language that's produced from that will affect that tree throughout time.
Ah, okay. So then would things change in the light language delivery? So would tone change or intonation or the type of words used change depending on the substance, whether it's wood or stone or water? Or do you find, I mean, do you have one for one particular?
No, so it's completely and utterly spontaneous. So the fun part for me is forming pattern recognition. This is part of my greater process still. So forming pattern recognition in order to listen to the different types of light languages. And it depends also, interestingly enough, where I am. Because if I'm on certain lands, then the language changes because of the ancestors of the land. So if I'm at home in my own home, then I can choose any dialogue I want, and I can chop and change through them. It depends what I'm doing. If I want to do it quickly, then I can just really quickly, you know, but if I'm feeling in a romantic kind of mood, you know, then I can really, you know, do the slower languages. But I imagine there's so many different beings involved in it, you know, especially ancestors.
Yeah, I love that bit. And I love the bit about the ancestors of the land, because if you look at certain dialects, I can't speak for anywhere else but UK really, the Welsh have a very up and down sing-songy accent, don't they, or intonation or tone. And to me, that goes along with the hills and the valleys. I mean, I can't do Welsh accent, but that is how they speak, isn't it?
That's
Those
right.
who heard Welsh people speak, that is how they speak. So I'm wondering if, just going back to our normal everyday language, whether the land we're on and the ancestors who are here already actually affect the way we just speak now, let alone in life language.
Absolutely. I mean, one of my favorite languages on the planet right now is Arabic. I think it's beautiful. I could listen to it all day long. And, you know, and that is ancestral in a way, isn't it? You know, I mean, you and I could learn to speak Arabic. Of course we could. But those that speak Arabic, it's because of their ancestral ties. And so I think light language is the same. Although, you know, not to say that's what it's all like that, because it's such an expansive thing. You know, I can have, I mean, you yourself, you've heard me do from star beings, different off-world beings and so forth, but they can come in and just ride on what I'm doing anyway, you know.
Yeah.
So it's very, very expansive, and it's very difficult to explain it in linear terms and to put it into a box, because it chops and changes so much.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's unlimited, and it's made up of, I mean, so many facets, aren't there, to it? And so many, I mean, I guess it also depends on the environment you're in, not just the land, the actual immediate environment you're in. And have you noticed that? Sorry, Maty, have you noticed? Have you noticed the change of the different environments you're in when you use light language?
Yes. So this is where the mystical stuff comes in. You know, anything that's truly mystical in your life is always a personal experience, isn't it? You know, we do share mystical experiences, but the best stuff happens when you're alone. You know, I don't know whether it's just so you can't prove it to anybody, you have to have faith in it, you know. That's probably what it is. But I can use it for pyromancy and what's it called when you manipulate the air and the wind as well. So basically I can go to a land. So I can use it to build the wind as well. So I can stand on an air in the land and start to speak or sing, and then the wind will build up and build up and build up and build up and build up. Or I can calm it down. Yeah. So it affects so much, you know, it affects so much.
Yeah, beautiful. So for you, it mostly comes through, it's coming through in the throat chakra, isn't it? So it's coming through in the form of voice, but it can come through as drawings, can't it? Or codes, you know, people write out code for it, or I guess mathematical, I'm not sure. But for you particularly, it comes through in music, doesn't it?
It does. And there's one of the ladies on the Lily, I've forgotten her surname now. She does the light language writing. It's absolutely beautiful. And for me, it very much is language. But it's I mean, it's probably a good time, Laura, to get into the different types of tones and things that we can use. So you know, just a basic simple tone can be light language, you know. And also there are some types, like Dawn last week, she gave us the demonstration of her light language, and it was very repetitive. You know, it's the same, almost the same word, but just delivered in a slightly different way. And that's another way that it's done. So it's not the way that we have language, where it has to chop and change all the time. It can be just one tone. It can even be a whistle. I mean, you know, that's one way you can do light language. If you can't speak, you can just whistle at one tone, and that energy will transfer. And that is light. That is a transformation of light. It's all about your intentions and your belief. So the other kind of light languages, so you have the fast delivery languages, and then you have the star languages, you have angelic tongues, you have whale speak. Oh my gosh, there's just a plethora. And there's the celestial light languages as well. So Earth Mother. Sorry, go on.
No, sorry. I'm so keen to hear them, because I heard some last night and I'm so keen to share. Can you let's give us a, are you ready to give us a sample of some of these?
Okay. So because we're going to do a meditation soon. So what I'll do is I'll show you the mechanics of what it does. So toning is used, as far as I can see, to create unity. So if I've got a person in front of me and they're slightly not in sync, then I can use toning to unify them with me, but it also sets their frequency and can raise or lower their frequency accordingly. So I see it as like a temporary unity field. So that's what the toning does. And so when there's multiple people listening, those tones will bring us all into sync. I've got a really dry throat. Let me just, I'll give you a little sample. Okay. So everybody just concentrate then, just sit and listen. And I'm going to run through a few tones, and I'm going to just higher and lower the frequency so you can feel it. should have been able to feel that go from the heart up into the head and then down lower into the kind of solar plexus. So that's toning.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
And so you can use that in conjunction. So if I have somebody who's nervous or somebody who's overexcited or anything like that, then I can use those tones to set their frequency to where we're together. And then from there, then I can deliver whatever needs to be delivered. So what else have we got? I mean, what do you want to hear?
Angelic tones, please.
Yes.
Angelic. Okay. Shalish, alish, 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 lishkule, ilish, ola, alish, ali. Ilish, aloha, ilish, kuhalish, eliala, ish. Ole, alalia, alish, oi, alala, unki. Lich, kuali, kushkin, iliala, biliala, illa, mahiala, malalia, okay.
That's very cool. Thank you. I love it.
Isn't it cool?
Yeah.
Surrounded by beings. This room feels super crowded.
Who else has got a request? Go on. Let's get Maty to do some of these. Celestial?
Celestial. We'll get into that later on.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Our language.
Say again.
A star language.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Wara chekaria dikiskelia de bakukikelia tekehes. Orda de umma dikele ma hindi kikele. Retikit takata. Retikiskelia diki. Harchikalia de go mbaka baka chikelia de hinste. Or tukuskelia de betiki indiko ohie. Mari tukuskoya nehe.
Who was that? Can you define it?
No, that was a group of them. That was a group that I was part of my entourage. Yeah.
All right. I love those guys. They've been here before. You've brought them here before. I love it.
yeah. And that's a bit of mine in there as well.
Yeah, very cool. Thank you.
And that's all very sort of similar to Native American or the ancestral. Last night, Maty brought through some ancestral language for me, which actually had me in tears. And it was only a few minutes, and that sounded very similar to that as well.
Yeah. And this is a lot of it is our star brothers and sisters, our ancestors as well.
Yes.
You know, that's the thing. And so when I do the songs, I'm not going to do any singing today because we're saving it just for that. I'm going to try and work on something for you guys for a future date. So I won't do any singing today. But sometimes when I do sit down to the fire and when I open ceremony, I always bang the drum and then sing in light language. And it's, you know, I've had people come out in absolute laughter when I do the light language. They just can't take it seriously. But often that's the healing because it's someone who's such a stick up their ass. Not that anybody's got to stick up their ass, that's not what I'm saying. But when I get an adult, you know, and then that burst of laughter, even though I feel a little bit silly and may get red, it's been, you know, the work is done. You know, it got in there. That's how the heart accepts it to some people. And children, you know, when they laugh, it's just joy, isn't it? Joy. And so with the Native American, there is, you know, when you hear them do where the voice changes and it goes, and all that. So that is something that quite often comes up when I'm at my drum as well. And that has the same sensation for me as light language, and it also has the same information that comes through.
Okay, so how's your information coming through? Again, is that, you know, like your third eye vision or?
It's for me, I'm clairsentient, so it comes in sort of a package of everything. But really, actually, it's just knowingness now, because you know anything else slows down the process. So really, it's just a state of you just step into it and you know what's going on, and I can do something, and then afterwards the thought just comes in and I understand, you know, what the next move is or something, you know. And sometimes it may take a little longer, but generally that's a part of the process. The more you live with light language, the more you experiment and experience with it, that you understand what it is. But it's difficult to explain what it is. It's something that's, you know, you feel on many degrees. That's a very out there answer. I know it's hard to understand. I'm still learning myself. That's the thing, you see. I'm still trying to put together the pieces myself, very much so.
Your superluminal pathways must be on fire, Maty.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff going on. So there's also, I'll give you another one as well. So this one will make the kids laugh. So this is the kind of, when I was first activated, this is the kind of, and I gave a demonstration this last night, this is the quick fire. So there was a lady that I heard on AB's show a couple of weeks ago, and she did some, and you know, and he said, and I heard it because there's all sorts going on there, you know, you can feel it, and it's very rapid fire, and this is like volumes of information just in a short time. So this is what activated me when I first, or this is the style and technique of light language that activated me in the beginning. So this one's quite challenging sometimes. So that was volumes and volumes and volumes.
It sounds very insectoid.
Yes.
Yes, it's the rapid fire. You can slow it down. I'll show you. Look.
It must be exhausting after a couple of minutes, isn't it?
It energizes me. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And have you got a gist of the message that was in that?
Absolutely not. No.
Okay. That's what you're working on at the moment.
Yeah. Well, you see, because, you know, when I use it for myself, then I already know what the intentions are for it. So what I did do earlier on is I had my full moon ceremony early on. So I just made prayers so that any of this language that's heard today has an effect to certain degrees of separation on everyone that's listening and anyone that listens in the future. So it's all about intention, really. As long as I lay down the intention at some point, then what's said needs to be said. So it's not up to me. I'm just a vessel at the moment. However, you must remember that I'm not just a CB radio. That's what AB told me. I'm not just a CB radio, but I'm working towards the translation process.
Beautiful. So what's this with your music that you're looking at doing in the future? Were you telling me a bit about that last night? Yes.
Well, for me, my personal joy, the greatest part for me about it is the singing and the songs. And the light language came first, of course. And there were a few sort of basic songs, like the one I sung with you last night, which sounds almost like churchy in a way, doesn't it? You know, the way the rhythms go, you know what I'm saying? It's very basic kind of rhythms. And so that starts at the beginning. And these are sort of tribal ancestral songs. But as my connections to my star brothers and sisters grew, and I started to become more spiritual clean, I think is the best way to say, you know, have a regular ceremonial process, then the light language became a real gift. And some of the songs that come through, there's one piece that comes through that is an operatic piece, and as far as I can work out, it's an Octorian life of my own. But when we make that connection and I sing the song, I can feel them all listening, you know, and it moves me because you know, it's almost like I just get out of the way. And the more I get out of the way, the more extravagant it becomes, you know, and it's just beautiful. And for me, those songs, they are what I want to develop as my technique in the future.
Do you want to give us a little sample now?
No, I've got to work. I bought all my new equipment, and I need to have a little play with it, because at the moment it's so spontaneous. I want to change the process and try to actually put a little bit more structure into it and have more of a knowingness of what's going on.
Okay. Did somebody put up whale or dolphin light language up in the...
No, I'm not going to get into the whale ones, because it really is exactly as you would expect. It's just whale tones.
Did anyone have any other?
Okay, so somebody's got blue whales. was nice. I never heard that before. There's so many beings around here queuing up. Gosh, that one's. Oh. Some of them, they don't actually sound. They sound fairly silly. Even as I'm doing them, it makes me giggle sometimes, you know. But like the feeling, the tone, the frequency is just undeniable, you know. Yeah, absolutely, silly good.
Is there a particular one you use for healing, Maty, or does it depend on the person you'll be doing the healing for?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, it depends on the person I'm doing the healing for. Yeah. So oftentimes, I can use just my light language. Just there's a common one that I use, which is bits of everything that you hear, and I just put it together in a certain way. And quite often, beings will kind of ride off the back of that as well. Because there's so much going on. You can't really hear it all with these ears at the moment, you know, because the movements within the mouth and the tongue also. So sometimes I can be doing it in a certain way, and then another being will come in and add potency to it, and it will just be so much as or a click here and there, you know. But it just pops it in just in between the other bits, and then there'll be another that comes in, and it will just be one small slight tone, or another one will come in, you know, and it's the hands, you know. So the hands are very much a part of the light language for me. So I project my third eye, my throat, and my hands. Yeah.
There's a lot of movement in your hands. What is that?
It's all that, like mudra, but it's just spontaneous. Again, that's also spontaneous. I know, pheromones are released from the hands, aren't they? That's why we release our spiritual pheromones.
You've covered so much. So if somebody what's a few tips for somebody who's not done it? Because we've all got the ability and potential to speak light language or translate it or receive it. So
right.
What are a few tips for somebody, a newbie starting out with light language? How would you get?
All I can do really is give them an activation. So, I will get some down. I'll get some down and put it onto my YouTube site. I've just newly started to create it. So what I will do is do a light language activation on there. I'll do a quick one in a minute, but I'll do a longer one there. And then if people re-listen to that over and over and over again, and then eventually when you just start to get a couple of words coming, you may be sat in the bath or in the garden or whatever, or in meditation, a few words will come. Now once that happens, then you have to understand that it's only your intention. That's it. So we had Dawn speak last week, that language that she's been speaking. Now, she could use that for absolutely anything. Healings on people, for blessing the water, blessing the food, absolutely anything she wants. She just has to put the intention and then start speaking that language, and it will do it all for her. So oftentimes people get confused with, or not confused with, maybe predisposed with wanting to understand everything that's going on, And so it's not about understanding it, because it is vast.
Is there a question in the chat there, Martin? I haven't got all of it. How do you know if you're doing light language? I think is it from Lana?
Well, that's down to your own personal process. To other people, I'm talking complete nonsense. That's their reality, Mine, this is light language.
I don't know, Maty, can you read? Do you want to read the question yourself, or shall I read it? How do you know if you're doing light language, from Caroline, and not just speaking, scat, just scat speaking, whatever that is, scat? Because sometimes
in English.
I think scat is cool. I like it.
Yeah, I like it.
Yes. And it just comes out of nowhere, but it is creativity, or is it something else coming through?
Well, it's all the same thing, isn't it, really? I mean, obviously I'm sure I could do scat. I can do the drum and bass MC, and I can do hip hop MC, and I can do anything with my mouth, actually, any form of styles and singing and stuff like that. So in a way, it's pretty much the same thing. It's just that I've figured a way to translate what comes higher dimensional light.
And
same thing.
Would you also say it all comes down to trusting yourself in whatever comes out, whatever you want to call it? is that?
Exactly. And so if the cognition gets in the way, then you can convince yourself. I mean, you know, that question, not to knock that question, but to say, how do you know if it's this and not that? Because they're two very different things. Light language and scat talking, they're completely different things. You know, who would spontaneously just start doing jazz scat, you know? Choice.
But if you're coming out with something, I don't mean the cat jazz, whatever it's called. I might have got that wrong, sorry.
I don't know either.
Scat, like as in poo.
Yes. Or gobbledygook. It's coming from somewhere, isn't it? So, you know, could it just be coming from like a parasympathetic response?
Yes, absolutely.
Is that possible?
And there's so I'm not knocking that question. I'm not knocking that question at all.
Yeah.
But there's also there's a chap, you must listen to him, guys. It's insane. His name is Reggie Watts. He's quite famous, but if you haven't heard of him, you should look. And he presents as a comedy, and he makes up beautiful songs. He's got a looping station, and he makes up these songs, and he does this absolute nonsense talking, and he'll change the dialects that he does and the accents, and he talks about this is a song from Lemuria, and then he'll do a song about sex, you know, but like in a funny way, like a hip hop tune about sex, and so you can just tell this guy's really switched on, and he uses light language in a very unique way where nobody even knows that they're listening to light language, but he blends it in with jokes, songs, and other things, and it's not presented as spiritual in any way, shape, or form. It's delivered as comedy. Absolutely brilliant.
So what are the implications of more and more people using light language?
For me, it's a higher, I don't know the words, you know when you get mixed up between dimensions and frequencies and whatnot, but it's a higher form of expression of light that makes a unique manifestation. And so there's times where I go into buildings or go into places and I'll sing in light language, and I'm like, that was a completely unique manifestation. That hasn't happened there in a very long time, you know? And so I think the implications of it are, you know, that it does change the land, because one of the fundamental parts of my process is to, when I go on my pilgrimages and to walk the land, is to sing as I do it. So it affects the land that we go on. So it has that part of it as well, where it activates the land upon which it's spoken.
That's something I could do then when I visit sacred sites, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And then, you know, if you record it as well, which is something I'm guilty of not doing enough, but if you record it as well, then you'll be able to hear the ancestral tones of those lands.
And how would stones, you know, standing stones fit into that? Because they also emit a frequency, don't they?
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of the light language. When you have the flow and you have the trust, then like I say, it's not just one being that's speaking through you, or just you that's the light. There's a plethora of different ways you can interact. And sometimes, you know, standing stones, just by speaking on near those standing stones, and including them in it, they are included.
And I wonder if that's why we used to dance within the circle of stones.
Absolutely.
To amplify the light language. Yeah, I'm getting slightly off topic here.
No, but you're not. But you see, Laura, also, you know, if you imagine the stones when they were, you know, in their pristine condition, those sites, and they're all linked up on the energy grids, and you imagine 100 singers all singing, toning in the middle of one of those places, all doing different tones. All of the stones would begin to vibrate, you know, with that light. I mean, it's beautiful. And I know that Andrew's talked about language and singing and being used actually for transportation as well. So from one place of power to another, singers would be used to activate the portals and so forth.
Yeah, so the stones amplify that.
Exactly.
Yeah, beautiful. So did you say you'd sung at any of these standing stones or stone circles or sacred sites?
I haven't done many pilgrimages, actually. It's more like what I have been doing is just walking rivers, and I've done that many times. I walk rivers and I'll sing as I go along. But I did do Avebury and a couple other places. But yeah, for me it was more about again, it's that personal thing where there's some things I just don't want to do in front of lots of people, you know. So it quite often is just spoken prayer. Gently spoken prayer at these places. But no, if I found myself in a situation where I was all alone, I'm sure I'd belt one out. Absolutely. It'd be interesting to get a few people together to do it.
Yeah, wouldn't it? So would you like some questions now from people before we go on to the meditation?
I'll tell you what, should we do the meditation first?
Yeah.
Is that all right? Because
Absolutely.
what it does, it's a demonstration of how you can fit light language into your own meditative experience. So even if you only speak a limited and small amount of light language, then you can just use that when you connect with any celestial beings. So the meditation we're going to do, we're going to go, because it's full moon, so we're going to travel through space. We're going to go to see Sister Moon. We're going to hear what she has to say, and then we're going to go to the sun and the galactic central sun. And both of those, whatever language comes through. The frequency will be specific for each and every person. So I'll use some toning to get us into the right place. And what I will use is the rattle. Can you hear that? Okay. Is that okay? Yeah. So we use that for the journey. So, do you know what? We'll just begin. I'm sure you'll understand. So when we're journeying from place to place, I'll shake the rattle, and then when I stop, we'll arrive at the place, and then we'll let the language flow. Okay. So everybody get into a space, get into a meditative space. Close your eyes and begin to breathe. Okay, imagine yourself on the earth, on the grass, bare feet. Surround yourself with a golden tube of light. This golden tube of light reaches up into the sky further than you can see, connecting you to the galactic central sun. Our first step on our journey is to Sister Moon, the full moon. But before we leave, Earth Mother has a message. Lielo, arte telia metitishtuenda patitelia, tartin dietishkilien, chainte kuhinge, shaite, martel, koihel, karinte, pakuku, mpakohushke. So you set your gaze upwards, and we're going to shoot up into space in our golden tube and land on the surface of the moon. Higher and higher. You find yourself on the surface of the moon. In front of you is a female figure, a human form. This is Sister Moon, manifest. She approaches you. She hands you a cup of tea. You drink the tea. You thank her and hand back the cup. She comes closer and she speaks to you. Moe, chikupuka eshki elle uhui, milto, liali, lashi liali, lahliala la bacinte, lieta bete inte etichu uhui, shaindel, yente pokuhin, tarter tekeli. She turns and she walks away. You bring your attention once again to your golden tube and you look towards the sun. Your golden tube heads directly to the sun. You make your intentions and you rise and you travel to the sun. You're in space, looking directly at the sun. I want you to move straight into the middle of the sun, right into the center of the sun. Feel the light all around you. Lahlal, balad kuhil la mashin ardu kuhul la mahal la mahul ya lahl ya la man ya man ya ardu tuhtil ya la baditich ya la man yungo to kushkoin shaya hinbika ya goha yana mahit kuhil shaya kuhin de tehliele part kelye. Breathe. Once again, bring your attention to your golden tube of light. This tube now leads directly to the galactic central sun. Cast your eyes up, make your intentions, and off we go. Closer and closer, closer and closer. See yourself in space, right in front of the galactic central sun. Beautiful, huge sun. Feel it affecting your DNA and all of your light body. Now fly directly into the center of the galactic central sun. Feel the light all around you. Watacha, Ibatachawa, Ikacha Nakacha, Chama a Jahacha, Nakacha, Ihe Waha, Tachi Tata, Naharkui Geshinte. Breathe. I'm going to shake the rattle now. And we're going to come back into the room. Go, guys.
Wow, Maty. That was any other meditation without light language now won't quite seem the same.
Okay, so we'll just hand over to anybody else who wants any questions or anything now. Okay.
Yeah, fabulous. We're nearly all back in the room. A couple to come. A couple are still up there with the galactic central sun. That one made me cry, the last one. The last lot of light language. It was a fabulous meditation, Maty. I'll just say that for anyone else comes in. I love that. I love the toning. I love the light language. It just adds so much to a meditation.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it's a way to actually connect with the celestial beings. So in a way, I think it is celestial mediumship. So anybody can achieve that. If you can speak the light languages, even just project there, you know, but if you can speak the light languages, then you can project yourself into these spaces and do the languages. And, you know, to me, that's celestial mediumship.
Absolutely. Guys, let's open it up to questions. You must have some questions for Maty. You can ask them in light language if you want.
That was wonderful. That was wonderful. Very powerful. That's in the central zone. I was feeling like I have fever in my body. That was great. Thank you, thank you.
Welcome.
And I remember that Andrew and another person too, I heard that there's like the alphabet, the universe alphabet is like a 1,000,000 letters, because
Yes.
we have our mind so limited just to thinking about, for example, the English alphabet, just 27 letters, and another language just 28, you know, and we have our mind very limited. I took one of the class with Andrews about light language 2 years ago, I believe. And I didn't pay much attention, but last year I really went into and then review again and rewrite what they gave us. And I feel that I get in tune with that, because I can do anything and then thinking in light language, and when I express it, I can see it, what I'm trying to say it. And then I understand, and even that it's so many different tones, and then feeling and emotion. However, I feel what I say. I don't have to be translated, because it's like the vision that you can see. And what you're saying, you can see the picture of what you're saying. That's the way I feel it.
Exactly. And it's a signature frequency match for whoever's listening to it. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome, darling. And when it comes to the 1 million letter celestial alphabet, for me, this is one of the ways that I do unpack and decode the 1 million letter celestial alphabet. I feel that these languages open up so much more, and you actually find your own speech improve as well.
Yeah, it's very wonderful. It's a wonderful. I feel like sometimes we are afraid to find out how much power we have. We have been so a slave for so many thousand million years that it's not normal for us to believe that we can be free. You know, it's like, that's what's my feeling.
And interestingly enough, the way that we do that is for our own personal journey. And light language, because many people are just not ready for it. You know, many people won't understand it. And I have been naughty with it before in the past, like pretending to be on a phone in the middle of a packed train and speaking light language to the entire carriage. You know, and so I have been naughty with it, but you know, it can be just a personal thing, and it's that personal journey that you get your power and your empowerment. You know, that's where you understand that your true potential. And it doesn't, you know, the mystical is never instant gratification. So, you know, you don't expect to be able to speak those languages and everybody to get it. You know, it may be that that's not your journey, or maybe that's not your journey at the time. Is to develop your own personal relationship with those beings that are trying to communicate with you, including your higher self and other versions of yourself, your ancestors and so forth, and what they have to say. And you don't have to consciously and cognitively understand it. You just allow that process, and it's your faith and your joy to perform yourself and your entourage. That is your personal empowerment.
Yeah. Is the knowing that we know what it is, that you don't have to explain.
Sometimes it's good to know. So, you know, for me, that is the one of the destinations, is to understand what's being said. You know. Yeah. How about your own light language?
Yeah, it's like a feeling inside that you know what you say, even that you cannot express it in the way that person can understand it. And
you mustn't get it twisted as well, because you know there are dark languages as well. You know, and you probably have heard Andrew a couple of times when he's spoken to people who speak light language, and the languages are very desperate and sad. You know, it's the way a being who trapped out of time can actually make a manifestation in this reality. And sometimes they're very touching, very moving, very sad. You know, so it's not always, you know, you understand what I mean, don't you?
Very wonderful. Thank you.
I'm going to sip a beer now, guys, because the meditation's done.
You earned it, Maty. So, you know, you were saying you could be on the train talking into your phone light language. Yeah, a bit of fun, I know. But you could be sending a healing to everyone on that train, doing that, and they wouldn't know. I guess without treading on their journey. So that's got to be a fine line, hasn't it?
You'll always find, because I've done it a couple of times, so you'll generally find most people who just assume that I'm speaking a foreign language, but there'll always be that one or two people that look at you you know, and you just know that they felt something, you know. What the fuck? Weird. That's a
Their
strange
higher
guy.
self, their higher self has just given them a prod. You know this. You
It
know
must be contracted. If I choose to make a manifestation, it must be contracted.
Absolutely. Yeah. We got some more questions for Maty. Oh, Martina, are you speaking? We can't hear you. No, can't hear you, darling.
So I'll tell you what I'll do then, while Martina gets her mic sorted out. Should we do a light language activation?
Yay.
Yeah? Okay, so if you can get this on the recording and play it back to yourself a few times, then you should find that it will begin to work, you know, because these things very rarely instantaneous, you know? So, okay.
Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Just recording. There we go. Thanks, Maty. Sorry. Go on.
Okay, that's okay. Iliahel, lahel, martuku ulohinde chite iliahe. Shalikata kashkiliel, mahala chiku inde. Nardikeliele, betikishkeliele, metechikiliele mahashin. Kuhutuku urtuku humbo. Mbagada chikiele, de betikishkeliele, matikichkeliele, magukukurutuku, ishkihe. Mbarachkile, iski, tikaka indagedeke, mbartekich, Martiku chikishelia, de bedie in the chitelia, le matichikelia, de ishkiele, Martike, chinkete, waha. There we go. Feel that frequency setting in. There it goes and it spreads. Beautiful.
Very
I felt
nice.
a lot of information in that one. Sort of squashed into all that.
Compress sounds and meaning.
Yeah, beautiful. Martina's yawning.
Yeah, it can get a little bit high vibe, man. And we've done quite a lot here today, actually, you know. So yeah. I mean, we'd be welcome to just open up to any chit chat if you want, Laura, if the conversation's lulled.
No, I'd like to open up to I don't know what I said. Lana loves it, but she doesn't know what you said. I don't know that you know what you said, do you, Maty? But it doesn't matter.
No, this I am doesn't need to know all the time. As a matter of fact, the more that I try to get in the way, the more I block it. It's about faith.
Yeah.
And whoever's receiving the healing, it's like when we're traveling through space like that, you know, you could just be listening to it happening, and if you don't believe it, you don't get the healing from it. It's about your belief. And if somebody believes and they surrender to the process with trust, then it has its most potency.
Yeah, Marty, I have a sensation pain in my shoulder blade left side, and then after this one is gone. I felt it. Yeah. Thank you. It was a burning sensation, and then it's gone.
There we go. See? It's a signature frequency match for everyone. And actually, that part at the back of the shoulder blades there, that's a very energetic place where energy is received.
Yeah. Thank you.
Can you do healings for specific areas of the body as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. But it is, again, it's a process. It requires the healee to, you know, fully embrace the process. But from what I can tell, the best way to administer that is to speak the light languages, to give the first, like I just did, to give the initial download, and then that person will then listen to that over and over again, and then maybe another layer is required or another layer is required after that.
Beautiful. Anybody got any ailments they want to bring up now? Have direct light language healing from Maty. Now's your opportunity.
You know, still baking the galactic central sun heat.
Well, yeah. I noticed the language got fierier in the galactic central sun and the moon. Did anyone else notice that? The moon?
Yeah.
light language was much softer and very
Yeah.
feminine. I suppose it's bound to be, but that's what actually came across in your tonations, Maty, with that.
That's right. And also my delivery, if a being is trying to really, empower it, then I feel the energy behind it. And sometimes it can get much more aggressive. But that's my delivery and my passion.
Yeah. Center zone. I felt like a fever in my body in the center zone.
And there's a version of you there. That's real. Now that your light body's there. There's a version of you there. Yeah, that's right. And that's why I wanted to just show people how you can use your light language to add potency to your own personal process, because you don't need to get in the way then, you see. You just go to where you need to go to, and you just put the intention for the healing, and then you just let it go. You just let it flow. And even if it's da 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 da, I mean, whatever comes out your mouth, don't think that it's not light.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Have we still lost Martina?
Was Naomi trying to say something before? She had her thing on. Yeah. Did you want to say something?
No, we can't hear you, Naomi. Sorry. No. I didn't read.
Can't hear her.
Martina, can you read what Sean says? I can't get that on here. Oh, we've got you. You're back.
Okay.
No, you're not. I think we all know what you said then.
Yeah, we don't need to hear that to know what you're
No.
doing.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, a little bit.
Now, yeah.
A silent movie, yeah. On and off. You're coming and going. We'll carry on and come back to you.
What if I take this?
Oh no, we hear you, then we don't. You're cutting in and out. Yeah, subtitles, Alan says. We'll have to save your wisdom for a bit later, darling. Okay, anybody else got anything else for Maty at all? Anybody like to talk some
light language? Some light language. Come on, I know there's people out there. Dawn, would like to hear yours again.
Yeah.
Well, my husband is joining me here for lunch, and it might be unusual.
Yeah,
I can hear me speak that way right now, so
yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. But I did want to say, I think it was we were at the Galactic Sun, and there was a being there that had a very large finger and pointed to each chakra, and I could feel in the body each one, and he especially, it felt like a he, and he was just pointing and just like liquid light, iridescent golden light just poured in, and that was really, really beautiful.
Right, that's why what I experienced was one singular being. Yeah, but one singular being, often it's not one singular being, it's how they will manifest, but that's what I saw come forward as well. And that bit was where it went do da dim dim doom dam.
Oh wow, that's amazing. That was just beautiful.
Anybody brave enough to try some light language with Maty?
Can you hear me?
Just give it a go. Who'd like to give it a go? Oh, Sarah, we can't. If you're sorry, Sarah, are you talking? We can't hear you either.
Oh, me?
No, Sarah. No, Martina. Oh, we hear you on and off, Sarah. Martina. Sarah, we're not hearing you, but I think you're speaking. I'm sorry.
What happened today?
It is full moon.
Yeah, and I literally, my phone just wouldn't work at all. It was just as we were getting ready to do this and logging in, my phone just completely wouldn't work. All of my new equipment I bought, none of it would work. So yeah, who knows what's going on?
Your light burn all the fuses.
Yeah.
I don't think they have uses on telecommunication type things. Or
I
did you?
can. Well,
Go on, Hermina.
I can try to say a couple words to see maybe if I can fluent, because it's like it have to be like a feeling. I don't know.
Okay.
Itinalakis motis moches neakanatus mitis mekisi yan fiesalatas motuha istana tinis mitius unolokesekia ipiesiologia zumijiza akanalakates misti fisonolokotas mika chisia mola kusno onalatas mietiaki piesuala kasmisio po ichulofes migiani la sepekesekana. Akalakatis miti yusa molakatis muyaka lekis miti.
So that was a being, and I got a translation on that one, not the whole thing, but that was some beings talking about how you feel like you are alone, and you think that you're alone, and you think that you don't have anybody with you, but they're just saying to you they're always around you, but you are forgiven of all of these things. They were saying all of this stuff that you think that you hold against yourself is forgiven in the unseen, and that it's time for you to move forward. And then the last bit was personal, it was private for you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think that long journey, and sometimes you feel like God, you can know more.
I wish I could have had the capacity in my mind to actually remember the whole thing, because it was delivered it was delivered very poetically. It was a real declaration from them to you, and it's almost saying, look, we take that weight off your shoulders, you know?
Thank you, that's wonderful.
You know what they're saying as well, don't you? You know what they're talking about. Yeah.
Wow, that was a wonderful connection. I felt it in the heart. I feel like it was a connection in the heart. Yeah,
beautiful.
Yeah,
thank you.
Sorry, darling, go on. I think Casey also got some of it. And did I see Sean, did you pick that up as well? Did you want anything you wanted to add, Sean, to that? You picked up.
Oh, that was gorgeous. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, gorgeous. Yeah, that was really gorgeous. And I felt the intonations as well, that there was like a loneliness, soul tiredness coming in. And then I didn't catch like how Maty said at the end, like with the bean, had a little personal message at the end. But there was so much that came in very, very strong and hard, which is really awesome.
Thank you.
And that's one of those light languages that can be translated, you know, it's beautiful. So that was so powerful that people can actually translate it. You see, we've all got this ability. It's just about your own journey and how much you've developed it.
Yeah, I think we have it. The thing we forgot it, and then we get scared about it, you know, that we don't open it out. It takes time to do it.
We're more than we've ever heard, read, or studied.
Yeah.
Yeah, we believe we're not.
This meeting is wonderful because it support one another and then encourage us to open up and just finish with this deal, you know. Thank you.
Well, you're in a safe space here, Hermina.
Thank you so much.
And a love space. So, I mean, we're just grateful that we are very appreciative that you want to share with us anyway and to actually be here. So, thank you. So, who normally has a lot to say, who'd like to actually try and say something to Maty? All our normal contributors.
There's a bit I wanted to say.
Andrea has gone very quiet. We can't hear you either. Are you?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Can hear you now. Yeah, can hear you.
Okay, I wanted to say to Maty, that meditation was really, really awesome, the way that you put it together, because it really felt like a fill-in-the-blank book where you build the story and then you leave in the blank for the messages from the planets or beings to step in. So it's almost like you can write stories for people and then let them have their own mediumship by doing their own light language in the story. So it's really cool because it provides a language from the language of their native understanding and then also a universal language, but using them at the same time provides such nice contrast. And it's just like built and ready, just like an Insta story that you can go play with and get big downloads from.
Exactly, thank you.
So that was really well top notch how you did that there.
So that's what I wanted to just show to people, is how light language doesn't just have to be something that you sit down when you're meditating and try to bring out and try to, you know, because it's not, it's something that you can do spontaneously, even if you only have a couple of words, and you can use it with all of these other methods and blend it together. You know, when you put it to music, it becomes amazing.
I wanted to ask you that about that a little bit. When I was in college, I wanted an easy course, so I took chorus, you know, where you got on a big auditorium. But when I heard all the parts come together, I couldn't, I went into some kind of stun, you know, like absolute, I just left the building. And that harmony of these voices was just beyond belief to me. And it felt so, you know, it felt so normal and so important at the same time. And when you were saying, when you did the opening of to harmonize us, you know, with that tone, I could hear all the, almost like rainbow sound, you know, all the harmonies were there in that. You were singing one, but I heard all of them. Just, you know, and my sister was in a big choir that was in New York City once, and we went downtown and went through these old buildings and wandered through and finally opened the door, and they were singing, and I almost fell flat on the floor. The sound of all these voices, oh my God. It's just, and so, you know, what you're introducing to me with that idea of toning, you know, when I'm around others. I wanted to ask you, say I'm standing in line at the grocery store, I want to do that, you know, but I'm not going to do it out loud, right? So do you hum that internally? Does that work, do you think?
The internal process is very difficult, because as far as my process goes, the cognitive mind comes into play. So if I start speaking light language, now try to think that.
Right.
So in those kind of situations, I'll just whisper. So I won't use the toning like that. The toning needs to be done out loud.
The toning is really important.
Yeah. And that toning, you know, this is where people that don't speak light language, this is where they can begin to. So, you know, one of the beings we have unlimited access to is the Earth Mother, you know, and so, you know, if you in your ceremonies, if you stand on the ground and then you connect to the Earth Mother, and you just let a tone out, whatever tone comes to you, and you will align yourself, you know, it will be powerful, it will be coming through. It's all about intention.
Right. Oh, that's beautiful.
And especially with your water as well, you know, anything you eat or drink, it takes a second to just, you know, hold something and go, that's done, you know.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then you put prayer into everything. So you make your prayer, which gives you, you know, that's part of your prayer process, and then you consume your prayer as well. You know, in everything that you do, the bath, the food, the water, and so it's just a constant give and.
Oh,
and
I love that. Isn't that beautiful?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
And this
It's
is
just like putting beauty on everything. Your beauty in everything.
And this is what I say to people, once you get any form of light language, it will come, you know, even if it is just toning always. That's okay, that will do you, man. That's, you know, but start to use it every day and consume it as well, you know, and that prayer builds up.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
thank you so much. That's beautiful.
And I think you said you were talking to me about your sort of connection with Earth Mother. And does she come to you in the light language? Because you brought her in with some light language today, I noticed, which again was very it was very soft and loving and exquisite, it sounded to me, because you do really see her. Andrea, no, sorry, I haven't heard, hold on a moment, I'll just finish this and then I'll come back to you. So you do have it, sorry, I've lost track of my thought. You do have a sort of connection with her.
Mm-hmm.
And do you want to describe how you've seen her? Sorry, that's what I was saying. Yeah, you were talking to me about how you actually saw her and how beautiful she was.
Yes. So yeah, okay. That's not related to light language, you know, but it's so Earth Mother to me. If any of you have access to Andrew's membership, then I forgot what year it was. He did a meditation where you go to the sacred mountain. And before that, it's the one where he does the, you know, the green DNA helix coming down and then the red DNA helix going back up. And then all the other colors and the pyramid and all that. And so it was after doing that a couple of times, then she projected to me at the foot of the sacred mountain. So I was in one of my baths where I use light language and empower the bath, fill it with salt, so it really pumps it up. And I get in and then I start to speak light languages, and then this is where my meditative visionary process comes from. And so yeah, I saw her at the foot of the sacred mountain where there's a meadow, and she had some personal messages for me. But what my opinion of Earth Mother is that she is very much not this grandmother archetype. She is a sexy lady, you know. She's extremely flirtatious and flamboyant, and you know, and that for me, I mean, it just changed the whole way I viewed the planet, you know, the whole way, because she's not this old grandmother that just like, oh, help me, not at all. She is having a great time, you know, and you know, yeah, she's hot, absolutely hot. Yeah.
Hey, you can have hot grandmothers, you know.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, she's pretty damn old, isn't she? So she's got some sort of secret, that's for sure.
She's got. So did she communicate then to you in light language?
No, that was delivered in English.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But you know,
Do you communicate? Sorry, go on.
oh, Martin, you know, when you mentioned about the mother just now, the last word you said, a hawk flew in front of my window. It was like a like affirmation. I thought, wow.
See, light language creates a very high frequency. Light language creates a very high frequency, and it does interact with the outside world. When you start to speak light languages, you notice these things, you know. I mean, everybody gets it in their process, whatever they choose to do. But for me, light language really sort of amplifies the whole frequency of the area that you're in.
Yeah, it's amazing. It just flew in front of my window. So wow. That's great. Yeah.
Andrea, speak to me. Speak to me. Can't hear you. Martina?
Oh.
How strange.
No, can't hear you. So
can you hear me?
Have we got about 4 people?
Sarah, yeah, I can hear Sarah. I can hear Sarah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Sarah, yes.
Yes. I logged off and then logged back on. I wonder if that works. What is it, all this light language, we're all muted? I will not be muted. So anyway, Maddie, I just wanted to say that was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I'm just kind of overwhelmed, really emotional, like deep, penetrating, healing. That was just divine, amazing. Honestly, I was a little skeptical, to be honest, you know. So I felt some resistance, but I think the resistance was fear. And I think, you know, maybe Hermana was talking about fear of power. So once I got over the, like, you know, my ego or the, you know, whatever, it was like, oh, I'm scared to go in. I'm scared to go deep. This is real. This hits like something, you know, like, whoo. So thank you. You're just a natural teacher, leader, like it comes out of you. So beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. Thank you. And you know, it's something that everyone can do as well. These celestial connections, they're there, you know, we can go anywhere we want. And this is where these things like light language, whatever you do, like drawing as well, you know, just take it to new levels, man. Don't settle for mediocre.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Maty, thank you.
So you can also, obviously you can also listen back to this anytime you want as well, you know?
Well, I was hoping, if there's no more questions and we've got all these people muted.
I'm happy to call it a night if you are.
Well, do you want to finish on one that will close it off? I don't know, like a full moon, bit of light language for the full moon, or a bit that gathers all of this group together under one moon, something like whatever comes.
So I'm going to do a prayer then. I'm just going to let it rip because all the ancestors and the beings are around. So I'll just let it go. Okay. So
thank you.
There you go. I'm going to go and have a beer.
Thank you for the healing.
Lovely.
I'm going to go and have a beer, guys. All right, I love you to bits.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Love you all.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.